Thank Mesdames, Messieurs, κυρίες και κύριοι, Mesdames, Messieurs, etc., ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is The Economist, Technology and Innovation in 2023 and beyond. Let's hope there is a very long beyond. My name is John Andrews from The Economist. It's a real pleasure to welcome you here this evening. I'm well aware that only 3 weeks ago, Greece had a terrible tragedy near Larissa, and it really is awful. And my heart goes out to you, and I'm sure that my sentiments are shared by most people around the world who heard about this tragedy. So I'm not sure that I can do anything more really than just express my condolences and hope that we can somehow move on from that tonight. Let's have a very good evening tonight. This is, I'm supposed to give you a few words about technology and innovation in 2023 and beyond. And actually, I don't know much about 2023. It's been a pretty bad year for me at the moment because we're moving house. And so I left my wife undoing boxes and having a terrible problem, blaming me for coming out here to decent weather, whereas in Britain at the moment it's rather cold and grim. But we are in a very, very interesting period. If you go back to, I think it was Ray Kurzweil, back in the 1990s, who introduced the concept of the singularity, which basically means that artificial intelligence will become more important, more knowledgeable, will surpass our own human intellect. Maybe we're getting that. I mean, you go back to IBM, and I think was it Deep Blue that defeated Garry Kasparov at chess, and then we have DeepMind, now bought by Google, which defeated Go at the champion of Go. So we are moving into an era where artificial intelligence is going way beyond what I suspect any of us could ever have imagined. Now, if I were really bright, I would not be talking to you like this. I would have downloaded from OpenAI, ChatGPT. And ChatGPT would have given me a little speech to make, and it would be far better than the words that I'm expressing to you now. But sadly, I didn't do that. I didn't download it, probably because I'm scared that maybe there'll be some kind of cybersecurity backdoor coming into my computer. So I wouldn't do that. Instead, what I'm going to do is ask our keynote speakers to come up here. Kyriakos Spyridakis, the Minister of Digital Governance in Greece, who is a real technological whiz. So, Minister, the floor is yours. And also, I'd like to ask Chris Messina, who is most famous not for being a film actor. He's cursed by having an actor who has the same name as him. He, of course, is obviously much better looking than that film actor. And his real claim to fame is that he is a startup entrepreneur across the board and also invented the hashtag. So if you get a torrent of abuse on your social media sites, basically you can blame Chris. So Chris, will you come to the floor as well? And Minister, if you could say a few words to the audience. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your kind introduction. I've been asked to speak in Greek, so I will continue in Greek. Κυρίες και κύριοι.
So, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is with great pleasure to find myself amongst you in this beautiful occasion. I'd like to thank the organizers, and of course, the very topic we're here to discuss about is the importance is self-evident. We are in a trajectory, both as a government and as a state, that has demonstrated the importance of the social importance of technology. Digital governance is a social policy, as per se. That was the vision. This has been the vision of Kyriakos Mitsotakis when establishing the Ministry of Digital Governance back in 2019, and setting as the primordial objective was to serve both citizens and organizations. It was the first time that we documented, we established that we had to change the rules, the laws, in order to improve the state-run applications and procedures. And it was the first time that we set a very optimistic goal, which was to measure ourselves, which means what was the number of public procedures we had to apply. We started with 503 of them, and how many do we have right now? By means of the Mythos program, we now have mapped some 5,500 procedures in place. I'm talking about government to business and business to government applications, amongst others. I would say Gov.gr played a very important role. The importance of Gov.gr has to do with the fact that it covers some daily routine ones. Last year, we had more than 1.2 billion euros billion interactions with the citizens. And of course, without bragging and blowing our own trumpet, we made people understand that there is a way to improve the state, to improve the government and the public administration. And that's a feasible objective which can attain no matter what is the political partisanship we have, no matter what the pre-electoral period it is, etc. Because everybody's talking about the red tape. Everybody wants to improve how the public administration works. So this objective is totally feasible. Have we done it all? No. As I said before, we have currently 1,500 procedures out of 5,500 ones online, but the RRF allows us to be able to afford all of them. So we may launch designing and putting in place these procedures in the online world, in the digital world, so we can cover all the needs of our citizens. Greece, with respect to telcos, it was one of the first 3 countries to make it to the 5G era. Of course, we are still ranking very, very low when it comes to fiber optics, but we are gradually covering this gap. Now, currently, we have 1.3 million fiber to the home lines, and we aim at making it to 4.8 million lines shortly. But as I said before, this is just chapter 1. We have many, many things to do, and there is a brand new, important world emerging, and we want to be part of it. With optimism, with ambition, and with true belief in the skills and the capabilities of Greeks. Many of you are here, and we met during the pandemic with all of you. We saw what was the great potential the Greeks had in order to make this transformation, and we currently know what it takes in order to cover the gap in full, to do the last mile. But of course, the world is not going to wait for us. We're not talking about covering the gaps of the past. ChatGPT is part of our daily lives. There are many universities across the world in which they say that the professors, the teachers, cannot make the distinction whether an essay has been written by ChatGPT or not, because it's not a copy, it's an authentic work carried out by an application. So we have so many technologies, AI-enabled ones, enhanced reality ones, and this will change the business models and the economic models of many countries, including our own. Technology is very fast. Technology is the catalyst of innovation. I think we have some very tangible examples that surround us, that allow us to understand what I just said. What was the number of video clubs back in the 1990s in Greece? How many do we have right now? Respectively, we have so many examples showing that the speed of change is so fast, although progressive. So we do want, and we can be present in this process, and it's going to be really a pleasure for me to discuss with Mr. Messina, the hashtag inventor, because currently there is only one hashtag for Greece. We move on. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Minister. And now, Chris Messina.
Good evening. Most of you may know that Prometheus was a titan in Greek mythology, responsible for creating humans and gifting them with the power of knowledge, including fire. Now, the gods of Olympus, particularly Zeus, saw humans as a threat and preferred that they be kept in a primitive state and ordered Prometheus to remove their knowledge of fire. But Prometheus defied Zeus. Humans kept their knowledge of fire. Prometheus was thus harshly punished. In the mid-2000s, Prometheus, eventually having broken free from his punishment, came to the aid of humanity by giving us the ability to connect and to communicate with any other human on the planet through the internet, democratizing power that had been consolidated by gatekeepers who owned and controlled the means of publishing and distribution. This power could be enjoyed by anyone who participated in social media. In recent years, those gatekeepers, just like Zeus before, have come to lament the societal upheaval that Prometheus caused by giving that power to us. But Prometheus wasn't done. Just last week, as has been mentioned, on March 14th, Prometheus delivered to us GPT-4 and kicked off an arms race, or perhaps a minds race, among the largest digital and social media platforms. Humans now have the ability to instantaneously connect and communicate with any other human on the planet, and the ability to communicate with an emergent intelligence that is learned from our books, our articles, our websites, and from hundreds of years of our recorded media. Humans, with a little help from Prometheus, became Zeus's greatest fear and grew too powerful for the gods to control. Indeed, we have now overthrown Zeus by engineering our own techno-gods. But I'm getting ahead of myself. In August of 2007, I wrote up the proposal for what would later become known as the hashtag. I suggested that we could use specially formatted words or phrases to label content on social media to make it easier to find and participate in relevant conversations. At the time, it seemed to me that social media creators needed an easier way to find others who shared their interests, and that any such method needed to fit the paradigm of the new SMS-based service that was growing in popularity amongst my San Francisco friends. And that service, of course, was Twitter. My proposal for the hashtag had to be necessarily pragmatic and clever, taking advantage of a new social network, Twitter, while also remaining compatible with the basic cell phones of the day. The iPhone, after all, had only come out in January of that year. The hashtag also had to be simple and easy to learn memetically, that is, through imitation. Hashtags had to provide more value to the creator through increased connection, visibility, and virality than it took to remember to add them in the first place. One way that I evaluated my early ideas was to apply the so-called drunk test. And what that entailed was me going out to a bar with a bunch of friends and having some drinks, and then determining whether I could still successfully operate hashtags. As it turned out, I usually got better at hashtags the more I drank, and so it clearly passed the test. In the first few months after I published my proposal, I was constantly on the lookout for use cases that would prove their utility. I found that use case in October of 2007 when my friend Nate Ritter was using Twitter to report on wildfires that were raging in his community in Southern California. He was using Twitter to share information that he'd gathered from the police and fire departments as well as local news outlets, organizations that hadn't yet gotten onto social media. To target his tweets to his community, he prefixed them with San space Diego space fire, as in San Diego fire. But since Twitter didn't yet provide a way to follow phrases, his followers couldn't easily subscribe to get updates or to contribute to his reporting. Thus, I pitched Nate on using hashtags And once he started using hashtag San Diego Fire, the behavior slowly caught on. His followers started to imitate him as they saw what he was doing, even though they didn't quite understand what he was up to. There was just this implicit notion that if Nate, who is pretty savvy about social media, was trying out something new, that other people should also try as well. Now, if you've ever seen a viral dance on TikTok, you know what I'm talking about. And if you have ever engaged in a viral dance on TikTok, then you definitely know what I'm talking about. And no one's laughing at that, so you guys really need to use TikTok more. Just kidding, don't. Wired magazine ended up writing about Nate's use of hashtags and his foray into citizen journalism, which helped the idea gain visibility and legitimacy. Looking back, we didn't realize that we were benefactors of a Promethean gift, but naturally we sought to spread access to that gift in opposition to the pattern of the previous information gatekeepers. Now, to clarify the analogy, once we saw the benefits of, quote, fire, i.e. social media, within our own social groups, we chose not to just keep it for ourselves. This meant helping each other figure out how to use and make sense of these new tools, and where possible, to build upon them in ways that would benefit every user of the system, preferably transparently and often through contributions to open source apps that anybody could improve upon without requiring prior permission. Our culture encouraged acting now and begging forgiveness later, because there was simply too much to learn and to try and to do. What should we even have asked permission for? There was no master plan per se, except to grow these new tools and make them easier and more compelling to use by more and more people. I never even worked for Twitter. I was simply the 1,186th person to sign up for the service. And yet I did change Twitter and social media forever. Fast forward 15 years, and you may wonder what my experience suggests may lie ahead in 2023 and beyond. Well, it seems somewhat fitting that just as Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to humanity, it would be one of Zeus's natural wildfires that would fan the flames of social media and help the hashtag catch on as a cultural phenomenon. Because it's this tension between Zeus and Prometheus, between withholding some new technological capability versus unleashing it on humanity, that we must confront time and time again, and that we must confront once again now. Fire is essential for warmth, for cooking, for industry. But fire also necessitates fireplaces, fire extinguishers, and fire departments. Every technological revolution that empowers, equips, and enables necessitates equally robust mitigation strategies to stem its harms and negative effects. This is the path of progress. It's easy to focus on the negatives and just say, well, if we never adopted the new thing, we'd be much better off. But Zeus's conservatism excludes by ossifying existing power structures, preventing access to the widest and fullest human experience by the most people. In contrast, Prometheus's profoundly inclusive liberalism didn't provide much time for Zeus and his godlike buddies to prepare, adjust, or adapt to the changes that he wrought. And judging by the decline of multitheism in the modern world, one could argue that Zeus was right for wanting to withhold fire from humanity, but he was still wrong. But then, of course, that's something that I would say as a mere mortal myself. But let's not get too caught up in the mythology, or we will miss my key point. It was not fire that sparked the demise of Zeus, but rather humanity's cleverness and creativity. We invented the Zeus and Promethean mythologies as intellectual bulwarks against natural forces and phenomenon that we could not control nor comprehend. And with the AI, we must do it again. Fortunately, our species is equipped with a tool much greater than fire, and that is the plasticity of language, which grants us the ability to communicate, to connect, and to co-create, to make sense of the real world and the abstract world of ideas. Here's the thing. Our language is infinitely adaptable and moldable by mere mortals, just like me, just like each of you. Fundamentally, what we must remember in moments like this, when our Zeus-like impulses are raging and we fear for our future due to advances in artificial intelligence, is that it is our cognitive abilities that brought us this reality in the first place. Now, more than any time in the past, we can do better for ourselves because we can communicate across generations and languages more easily than ever thanks to emerging capabilities from the inherent humanness of large human language models. LLMs are simply the sum total of our collective intelligence marshaled and mashed together, blinking back at us through a text input box, waiting for us to provide a prompt so that it can echo back to us what some human, somewhere else, in place or time, already figured out and wrote down long ago. To conclude, when social media was in its infancy, I dove in, captivated by its apparent ability to connect me with the rest of humanity and the rest of humanity with me through a simple, common interface. I propose the hashtag as a way to amplify the signal of each message so that it would more likely find the right recipient or recipients. And despite initial pushback to the idea, the hashtag succeeded and is now part of the fabric of human communication. Similarly today, and this is a general message, not just for folks who are here tonight, I would suggest leaning in and towards emerging technologies like ChatGPT, GPT-4, and other large language models that have sprung forth from our minds, and to learn how to work with these tools in ways that ultimately augment our collective humanity. Because how else will we learn and adapt? How do we master fire? Prometheus gave us no manual. As we did, and are continuing to do so with social media, we must learn through trial and error and adaptation and evolution. And as we do, we must spread our learnings through the original and most special social media of all, which is human language and communication. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Chris. Back from Olympus. Extremely good. I'm going to invite questions from the audience. So let me just ask a few questions here first. Minister, you speak, I'm rather impressed by what you're doing in Greece, but is your model Estonia or Israel or what?
Our model is the best possible version of ourselves. But
That's a very good politician's answer.
having said this, we studied a lot what other countries did. So the best case study, as we have the ambassador of the United Kingdom here, I'm going to primarily say the Government Digital Service of the United Kingdom, created in 2011, is the real model originally conceived as the most relevant. Estonia is the compass, it's not the map. Estonia it shows the north, where everybody should go towards. But in reality, Estonia had the capacity, it's a small country, and it had the capacity to properly design itself as a country after the collapse of the Soviet Union. In our case, we need to change the way our bureaucracy works while also having that bureaucracy continue operating. And that's perhaps an even more challenging task. I would also claim that Israel has done a tremendous job on innovation, on the creation of the startup ecosystem, and on cybersecurity. So overall, we're trying to learn from many places, but at the end of the day, reforms are like transplants. You need to have donor-receiver compatibility, and you need to be able to adapt things to your own national context, and this is what we're trying to do.
And do you agree with, I think that Chris gave a fairly optimistic view of what is going to happen, what will happen, our ability to adapt, to evolve and so on. Do you share his basic positivity?
Absolutely. And I share optimism because at the end of the day, I remember Winston Churchill's quote that I'm an optimist because there is no point in being anything else. But if I were to describe what I think the optimal viewpoint should be, I think we need to be tactical pessimists and strategic optimists. We need to think of the worst case scenarios tactically for every situation that we're handling, but strategically we need to think in an optimistic fashion. And I think this is what you echoed, and this is what I would echo myself.
Yeah. Chris, you talked about gatekeepers.
Yes.
How do we really need gatekeepers? If you go back to the idea that, move fast and break things, it seemed to work, and then you have problems, blah, 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 but somehow the legal system adapts. Do we need to have gatekeepers in advance?
I think it depends on what you're trying to solve for. Ultimately, it seems to me that there was a smaller, and I guess I'll just speak for the American experience, a smaller number of the overall population that were left out from publishing and for sharing and raising their voices. And that gatekeepers played a role to make sure that similar people continued to be able to speak and share their voices and their perspectives. The internet fundamentally changes that. It changes access. It changes the ability to see and to understand other people's perspectives. And so the role of the gatekeeper has to be reimagined as someone who helps deal with the impact of context collapse. In other words, where information is shared between communities or groups that previously haven't been integrated in a way that makes sense. And I think we're seeing those fault lines now and across so many different groups without the context of the original creator, that it leads to a lot more tension and fractiousness than is productive. So the way I think of gatekeepers is to keep other people out, and I think that the internet changes that. There is a role for
But if
contextualization.
everybody goes into the same nightclub, then you could have all sorts of bad things happen.
I mean, it depends on the nature of conflict and trauma that may be trapped within different groups. I think what I have found in different areas where there's more of a patience, perhaps, to interact and to learn about others, that type of conflict doesn't necessarily have to boil up.
But we're here in the birthplace of democracy. And a lot of people might argue that actually the whole digital revolution endangers democracy. And actually the cleverer the digital things become, the easier it is for democracy to be manipulated, for voters to be manipulated. And you see this, I guess, with Russian hacking, with Chinese hacking, Iranian, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, Minister, is this a danger that you see?
I guess that's why I spoke before about tactical pessimism and strategic optimism. I think we need to price this in. We need to take this into account. And that's why I tried before to address the fact that this is a discussion which touches upon both the screens of code and the books of law. And in reality, I think we should be very proud as Europeans because the European Union is a regulatory superpower. And what we're trying to do with the General Data Protection Regulation originally, but also now with the AI Act, the Digital Markets Act, the Digital Services Act, is actually to project our values on the technological deployment. Will we be successful in doing that overall? I'm not sure, but I think that this is the strategic question that we need to answer. This is the KPI. So in reality, are there dangers? Yes. We should always try to minimize them and maximize social welfare from the uses of technology, which we have the potential to do.
Chris, you were an early adopter of Twitter.
I was.
1,100 and whatever, what was it? 11?
Whatever. I was the 19th years of Instagram.
Yeah. Is Elon Musk a good thing for Twitter?
Is Elon Musk a good thing
Was
for Twitter?
Donald Trump a good thing for Twitter?
I mean, Donald Trump was not a good thing for democracy. Speaking of democracy, I think I've been following a lot of what has been happening in Elon Musk's Twitter for some time, and I believe his vision is rather different than where Twitter came from and from the sort of founding, persons who created it. I think he has a worldview that has been shaped by a different set of circumstances and experience.
Is social media exists. In terms of 0 to 100, obviously there's some bad things in social media. You get trolling, et cetera, et cetera. But where on that spectrum, from 0 to 100, do you think the social media outlets, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, et cetera, where do you think we are?
Just like Silicon Valley and the Bay Area isn't a monolith, I don't think social media is either. And there are pockets of horrible things that happen and that go on. There's also some really amazing things that, I have friends that work on these platforms that have been put in place to address some of these harms. This started happening mostly in 2016-ish and has continued on. There are, for example, this is a dumb example, but if you try to post a tweet that is, let's say, using a swear word at somebody, a little prompt will show up that says, are you sure you want to share that? That's actually not what people do here. And so there are these little nudges that are being built into these systems to sort of provide a little bit more mindfulness in those moments of heatedness. Now, does it solve the problem? No. But the same things happen in the real world outside of social or digital media, and we're still finding ways to address the harms that are caused by that type of behavior, whether it happens digitally or face-to-face.
I'm going to ask questions from the audience, but one quick question. Why is it that the tech companies have so far been unable to actually bring in a proper age verification thing so that you can't stop some sort of 12-year-old school kid accessing horrible porn? Is it because of the profit motive? I mean, why?
I don't think, look, I'm not inside of these companies now making these decisions about age verification. What I can tell you is that, especially in the United States, there's a great deal of concern about privacy and about access to this information. And for these companies to collect this information, especially from parents, in some cases, these platforms are resources for kids that have no one else to talk to. I mean, as I mentioned in my remarks, I believe that social media would be a way for me to connect with the rest of humanity and humanity with me. Now, I didn't realize that I wasn't exactly ready, nor was humanity ready to interact with me, but that is in some ways the role of the parent, that is the role of the school, that is the role of culture to prepare us for those types of interactions. So when it comes to age gating, I think we have to remember that parents know a lot, but not everything in all cases. And so sometimes having access to those things is actually essential to growth.
Minister, what do you think?
I think it's a function of the internal priorities of the technological companies themselves, a function of algorithmic capabilities, and a function of regulatory priorities. Those three haven't aligned in order to produce that outcome, and we still don't have identification systems all over the world that actually enable us to be able to have access to certain systems or not. This is something that needs to be further discussed, and this is certainly something that we should further put our focus on.
Yeah. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, questions, please, from the audience. Just put your hand up, ask a question. Yes, gentleman there, and another gentleman there.
Shall I put my question in English or in Greek?
Well, it would be much easier for me and for Chris if you could put it in English. But of course, who am I to tell you not to? It's your country and your language.
It's actually not. Those are two foreign languages for me, but I...
Oh, in that case, go for English.
My name is Alexander Sunko. I'm the ambassador of Croatia, and my question is for the minister. In your... obviously, the term of this government is reaching an end, and in this cycle in particular. Which of your reforms in your area, Mr. Minister, do you consider most important or most succcessful? Thank you.
Overall of the government or the digital?
Your
or in
portfolio.
Or in my portfolio.
Your portfolio. Στο δικό σας τομέα.
I would say gov.gr by itself is the biggest of all the deliverables because it's the umbrella deliverable. All the services that we have managed to create are parts of that single, let's say, platform, which shall be eventually the single point of contact of citizens with the Greek government and corporations with the Greek government. Now, of course, amongst those 1,500 plus services, some are more successful than others, some are most frequently used than others. The power of attorney, for instance, service, catalyzed millions of visits not to happen and actually enabled them to happen digitally. So I would say this is one. The second is the 5G auction, which in our view was perhaps one of the most innovative auction structures in the world, the way through which we reserved 25% of the auction proceeds in order to create a venture capital fund for the development of 5G applications in Greece is an innovation. Certain things that touch upon pandemic management would also be considered as innovations. But at the end of the day, I think that the biggest deliverable is something non-tangible. It's the perception that we should be using technology and changes in law in order to simplify and diminish bureaucracy. This was not a KPI. This is something which could have easily happened in the past. But organizational reforms hadn't aligned, policy reforms hadn't aligned, budgetary capabilities hadn't aligned. The team wasn't there, so we brought everything together, things aligned, and we managed to start simplifying and delivering. So I think that this is what, so far, citizens have endorsed the most.
Thank you. And there was a question from a gentleman just, yes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Pascal Apostolidis. I represent the pharmaceutical industry and also I'm part of the American Chamber of Commerce. My question goes to Minister Pierrakakis. Minister, we are sitting in a ton of wealth of information, and I refer to the electronic prescription. We have it since 2012. And we've seen recently that data companies have done a lot of investment. I refer to Microsoft, Cisco, Google, the Internet of Things, cloud services, AI, we referred to previously. So do you have anything in mind in planning to do something to explore this kind of information? Because for us, of course, the data fully anonymized and, as you mentioned, protected by GDPR, we are concerned about aggregated data that could bring hundreds of millions, if not billions, to the Greek state and the Ministry of Health. I would appreciate your answer to this. Thank you.
No. It's absolutely the case that we should achieve to endorse AI, but we should also achieve to endorse I, meaning that we should be intelligent, not only artificially intelligent. And by that I mean that so far we hadn't managed to interoperate the core data sets of the state in order to be able to deliver better services. The e-prescription system was there, you're absolutely right, since 2012. Funnily, this was only known to doctors up until 2020. And when you went to your doctor to print your prescription, the doctor was actually physically printing the prescription and you weren't receiving it on your mobile phone. So the first two easy, quick wins were to actually create these paperless prescriptions that your Greek citizens are now receiving on their mobile phones, Zailis Daography, and the development of the My Health app, which enables you to have access to your own data, which was an irony that you previously didn't. Now, we have troves of data all over the state. Prescriptions are one, taxation is another. On every single policy area, you will find significant data sets, and this is where the I comment goes. We haven't yet developed the capacity to learn and develop policy design in a systematic manner from that data. So we should be doing that. A part of this touches upon publishing open data. We shall do that after we are absolutely certain that GDPR is fully complied with. But we should also start learning from those troves of data, and we should start informing our policy design. We're doing it anecdotally, but we haven't yet done this systematically. One of the core projects of the RRF, which we currently have, and it's procured and under development, is the BI system of the Greek state, the business intelligence system. In similar manners, we should actually call it GI, government intelligence, which we're trying to achieve right now. We lacked such a system during the pandemic. So we will have that, and I think that through such a system, you will start seeing intelligent policy design informed by data sets like the prescription data set that you mentioned.
Thank you. Chris, intelligence. You talked about human intelligence. The minister's just talked about intelligence, like government intelligence. I mentioned the singularity. If you go beyond 2023, do we reach a point where human intelligence is no match for artificial intelligence?
I just listened to a podcast yesterday. I listen to a lot of podcasts. And there's a new book that's come out, and the author has proposed this idea of what he calls meganets. And I won't bore you with kind of like the intricacies of this concept. You can search it up, #meganets. But he kind of describes what I would think of as more like flocking behavior with human systems or human media, where there's sort of like an emergent property of intelligence that arises from the ways in which humans collaborate and work together in ways that are quite subtle and that we normally don't see. So whether it's a question of the singularity or not, there is already a kind of super intelligence that is here among us. The fact that we coordinate to come here together, and as I've been in the audience as well, listening to phonemes that are coming to my ears of messages that are coming out of someone else's brain, and then those ideas are being inserted into my mind. That is an amazing technology. That is a technology that no other species has figured out. So to suggest that an intelligence, which again, we are building, we are creating, is somehow going to be more savvy or more clever than us, certainly it'll be smarter in ways that maybe an individual human mind can't quite achieve. But in collaboration, I think there are ways that we can get much beyond what we're even capable of today.
I think that was a positive note on which to end. I think Chris and the Minister, you both deserve a huge round of applause. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you. And we're not quite ready for dinner because we have an award ceremony. Could I ask Stella Cantona come to the platform, please? Oh, yes, photographs. Sorry, Stavros, yes. We are in the digital era, and there are digital photographs. So, yeah, indeed. Okay, that's fine. Stella? Thank you very much. No, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
Καλησπέρα σας.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear guests. It's high time we awarded the companies pioneers in their field in the revolution brought by technology and innovation. The Beyond Innovation Awards, organized by the Economist Impact and the Power Game, are a recognition to those companies that create a positive future for economy, the environment, and humans after all. I would like to thank Mr. Stamilis, Dean of the University of Thessalia, Mr. Bakoyenis, Engineer, Deputy Assistant Professor at Metsovion Technical School, and all the rest of the committee. And I would also like to thank Mr. Stasinos from the Technical Chamber of Greece for his contribution in the assessment. I start with a very famous company, PPC. PPC in the last years has been transformed in an innovative and modern organization, evolving constantly, making digital transformation practice via upgrading the skills of its employees, and all processes followed by it. I invite Mr. Alexandros Paterakis, Deputy CEO of Digital Transformation, to receive the award.
Αυτό θα το πάρετε εσείς. Συγχαρητήρια.
Καλησπέρα σας.
Good evening. My name is Konstantinos Zagalikis. I'm the General Director of Digital Services. I'd like to thank you for conferring this award to us for the second time in a row, showing your trust to our digital transformation. PPC is an innovator. We are working at the pace of a startup. We are very agile and flexible in order to ensure our business continuity and offer digital services to our customers. This award is dedicated, of course, to our people, because every company relies on our people, on their people. We rely on them, we help them evolve, and we believe that our future will be bright. Thank you very much.
Σας ευχαριστούμε πολύ.
Thank you very much. Let's continue with a company that needs no particular introduction. Microsoft Hellas. Against the difficult conjunctures of the previous years, Microsoft kept investing and investing in building new data centers and training thousands of citizens on digital skills. It's a company that, rightly so, has been supporting a transition to the digital era. So let's welcome Mr. Theodosis Michalopoulos, General Director of Microsoft Hellas, for the award.
So thank you very much for this. We talked so much about OpenAI today, and I don't know if it's a coincidence. Yeah, exactly. So this goes, of course, to our teams, and we've been here in Greece for 30 years. We've been through difficult and challenging times, through the recession, through the pandemic, through all the different situations. And as you know, we've been investing in the countries, bringing resources, opening data centers, doing projects like the Ancient Olympia, digitizing Ancient Olympia. And we are here to do more. And I do hope that AI and all our platforms will continue to empower people and organizations in Greece to achieve more. Thank you.
Ευχαριστούμε, κύριε Μιχαλόπουλε.
Thank you, Mr. Michalopoulos. Next one, Cisco Hellas. Cisco Hellas is materializing their multifaceted strategy as a single provider towards a sustainable future, and by interconnecting effectively both people and devices. And they do that while extending their footprint by means of innovative projects. I'd like to invite Mr. Botinis, Chief Commercial Director for Greece and Cyprus, and Officer, apologies, for Greece and Cyprus, to receive the award.
So I'd like to thank from my side giving us this event. It's a real privilege to receive it on behalf of our team over there. Okay. So what we can promise to you is that we have been increasing our footprint the last few years with the Digital Transformation Center in Thessaloniki, with the GEA Neorion Center for the shipping industry in Syros. But what I can promise you, and based on that team that is working hard, is that we are just beginning. Okay, we have a lot coming in front. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ευχαριστούμε.
Thank you, Mr. Botinis. Data privacy and processing has to be done by means of a holistic approach and by being innovative. That's why we are awarding Iron Mountain Hellas, a trailblazer, a company with a long history of providing innovative and digital solutions in how to process and store physical and digital archives. They have a very strong footprint in the digital transition, and they take on very complicated projects both for the private and the public sector. I'd like to invite Mrs. Andrea Adoniou, Regional Manager Director for Central and Southern Europe for Iron Mountain, to receive the award.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. A couple of words?
Το βραβείο αυτό αποτελεί μεγάλη τιμή για μας όλους στην εταιρεία. Πέρσι συμπληρώσαμε 20 χρόνια παρουσία στην ελληνική αγορά και είμαστε ιδιαίτερα περήφανοι για την πορεία της εταιρείας μέχρι σήμερα. Θέλω να ευχαριστήσω προσωπικά τους συνεργάτες μας, τους πελάτες μας, αλλά και τα μέλη της ομάδας τόσο στην Ελλάδα.
Our partners, our vendors, are the members of our team who believed in our vision and played a catalytic role in the success we currently register. Greece made it in the global map of Iron Mountain. We attracted interest by everyone, both because of our high growth rate and, of course, the opportunities that arise in our country. A brand new day is dawning for Iron Mountain, with the new investments in innovation centers and new infrastructures that will support our growth furthermore. Thank you very, very much.
70 χρόνια τώρα.
It's been for 70 years that this company has been driving progress and by promoting safe and valuable products of high nutritional value for everyone. It also marks the transition of the industry in the 4.0 period. This is Delta, a company that has earned the trust of the customer bases by also registering quite important premieres and top positions in the industry. I'd like to invite Mr. Cholkas on behalf of Delta to come on the stage for the award.
I'll say a few words in Greek, if you don't mind. Sure. Okay.
A few words in Greek. Firstly, together with my team, we feel so privileged for being amongst amazing people who makes us feel so optimistic for the future because of the paradigm. Delta has, as part of its DNA, being innovative. For more than 70 years, we have scored really high when it comes to being innovative, always with the aim to create products that are not technological ones, but make good use of technology and science in order to provide Greeks with the best possible nutrition. This is the most far-reaching vision we have, to highlight what good nutrition is about, to highlight safe nutrition day in, day out, both for our societies, our families, for the country and for the environment. Thank you very, very much.
The next company is a pioneer in sustainability and environmental sensitivity. Tehan is a pioneer in recycling with an integrated recycling centers, introducing high technology, aiming at a better future. Mr. Panagiotis Mourgos from Tehan is invited on stage. First of all, I would like to thank Economist and Power Gang for this award. Recycle with the use of high technology and innovation is a new dynamic trend in our country as well. We are very proud that this equipment of American technology is produced in Greece, and we have the first production plant in Greece besides the United States. We will determined to contribute more to have a better environment in Greece. Thank you very much. OPAP is a lead actor of the Greek economy. For them, innovation is not a necessity, but an option to develop customers using state-of-the-art technology, digitizing transactions. OPAP makes innovation practice via OPAP store application. Mr. Staikos, Digital Director of OPAP, will receive the award and probably will share a couple of words with us.
But I think you want to have the power game as well, right? Yeah, okay, here we have. And now just a couple of words.
Thank you very much. Καλησπέρα σε όλους.
Thank you very much for this award. This initiative we are awarded for, we started in an R&D project and it ended up being one of the most strategic business projects for OPAP of the past years, used by hundreds of thousands. It is an innovation at various levels technological. We have created one of the biggest Internet of Things networks in Europe, installing more than 10,000 sensors in OPAP shops, and through machine learning we can forecast and identify the mobile devices within our shops and unlock them. Via the services we offer, we change the business model in our shop, and it is an internal innovation for us, giving us an opportunity to embrace technology. We trusted a Greek startup to find a solution for us. That is why I believe it was an innovation, and I'm glad that it is recognized by you. Thank you very much. And now, Eleftherios Venizelos Airport, its priority is to offer services and experiences to passengers. Its destination is technology enhancement and digital communication channels. It uses modern tools and digital solutions, recognizing true needs of the passengers and trying to meet them. Mrs. Ioanna Papadopoulou, Director Communications, and Mr. Zyogas, Director IT&T Business Unit, are invited on stage for the award. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Eleftherios Venizelos Airport, I would like to thank the committee and, of course, for this award. It is a very precious award to us. Technology, innovation, and sustainable development are in the DNA of Athens Airport. An additional tool in our premises is IT that assist us improve our products. Of course, this award belongs to our colleagues who try hard despite difficulties. As you know, in the past years, we have suffered a lot because of the pandemic. So all our colleagues work 24/7, 365 to offer innovative services and their best self, not only to the business partners of ours, but our passengers as well. And last but not least, innovation is a teamwork. That is why we were two up here. Mr. Yomas, IT Director, because we believe in hashtag innovation is teamwork. Thank you very much. It is the first company brought to Greece, internet to Greece, mobile telephony, and TV, satellite TV.
Δίκτυο. Η Nova, κυρίες και κύριοι, μέλος του United Group.
A subscription-based TV, and the biggest company in Greece and Southern Europe makes high speeds a reality to all countries in which it is present. It offers access to the benefits of the society of gigabytes for millions of citizens. ICT executive of the company is invited to the podium. It is a great honor and pleasure to be among you. This award is an award praising the strategic focus of our company to become an holistic digital provider of infrastructure and services for the country. You make us stronger to continue. We have a 5-year project including investments of 2 billion euros for development of new generation network, expansion of 5G and optic fibers that will exceed 22,000 kilometers, and a new team that actively participates in digital transformation of the country, ICT team, in order to contribute to the national effort, the national objective to change the country and make a sustainable growth for everyone. Thank you all very much for this award.
Οι περίπλοκες προκλήσεις.
Complicated challenges call for effective solutions. This is exactly what the Nest organization has achieved. WinMetrics, since 2018, has been providing innovative solutions to complicated problems when it comes to sales, credit, and compliance with international financial reporting standards. So today, in a time when finding a common workplace for sales, vetting, credit, and accounting and other functions represents a top stake, this company develops modern tools giving value to the business and to every customer. Let's welcome Mr. Panos Michalopoulos, WinMetrics partner, to receive the award.
But as long as you're speaking Greek without a Scottish accent.
Oh, aye.
I would like to thank the organizers, The Economist, the Power Game web portal, for this award. It's really important for a small Greek company to find itself amongst established organizations. It has been a hard journey for people from around Greece to find their way here in order to receive this award. It's quite moving for me because Mr. Michalis Argyriou has been my professor during my MA thesis in Brunel, and now we met each other for receiving an award. I'd like to thank WinMetrics team, and I promised to my sons, they're here, and one day they will understand the job I'm doing, and of course my wife for being my inspiration and my support. Now, last award, Cognitive, the company that introduced virtual reality into data storage by making the daily lives of thousands of citizens easier. Included in the customer-centric strategy by the Ministry of Digital Governance and in collaboration with other ministries, transportation and civil protection. They are the sponsors of the digital wallet for paperwork and for documents, and it is a supporter for storing and processing documents and having documents in a safe way, which allows red tape to be cut and time to be saved. I'd like to invite Mr. Varian, the partner of the company, to come to the stage. Good afternoon. It is with great pleasure that we receive this award. We'd like to thank the organizers and the committee. It's a distinction for the team of Cognitive, which for the past years has been developing expertise and know-how we are currently exporting. And it's an important recognition for the hard work we have put for the digital wallet. We keep on being innovative. We would like to thank the ministry. We'd like to thank the minister, Mr. Kyriakakis, for his entrusting us and for the hard work. We worked as a team, and that brought this result. Thank you very much. So, at this very point, we reached the end of today's awarding ceremony. But this is not the end of the evening. We will start now with our dinner. So, on behalf of the economists of the Power Game and, of course, the Economist event, we'd like to thank you for your presence. Enjoy your dinner.
Sarah, thank you very much indeed. Thank you. And